To the webinar on hyperlocal marketing for small businesses and freelancers. This is part of the Small Business Festival 2018 put on by the Victorian Government. And some of you may already know of me, some of you don't. So I'd like to first of all start by acknowledging some of the people who've made this event possible. So obviously there's a number of partners who've been involved with the festival. And if you have a quick look at the Business Festival website, you can also see at the bottom of the screen, as it shows here, that you can visit the Business Victoria Hub, the Business Victoria website. Small Business Victoria has workshops, and also there's the Small Business Bus. So Jennifer apparently can't hear. Just make sure you've turned on the audio on your device as well. And I'll just ask if there is anyone else who cannot hear. Okay, thanks for that feedback. I'll just speak up a little bit louder and hopefully that will help us hear. Great, nice to know that you can hear too, Russell. Just as a bit of a backup plan, I'm going to also do an audio recording so that we can make sure that no matter what happens, there'll be some sound. So I'll put that on as well. Okay, so once again, welcome to the Hyperlocal Marketing for Small Business and Freelancers, part of the Business Festival, or Small Business Festival Victoria in 2018. So as I said, lots of great partners who've made this event possible, and my goal is to obviously make sure that we get through what I promised on the program. And there's quite a bit to get through in the next hour. I've also downloaded some of the questions that people lodged when they registered for this event, so I'll be answering those at the end. And what you'll notice with my slides is there's quite a lot of text on them, and there's a very good reason for that. Some people are more written users, and some people are more audio, and some are visual. So obviously I want to make sure that this information is as accessible as possible to everyone. And yes, Kamal, I will be sending out the slides. In fact, I'll be publishing them on my sueellson.com website under presentations, where there's actually a whole lot of other presentations that I've done. Some have videos, some have audio, some just have some handouts. So there's heaps of other information. And some of you will also know that one of the things that I'm very well known for is LinkedIn as one of my other specialties. So there's quite a lot of information on LinkedIn there. So feel free to use the chat box throughout the webinar. I'm happy to take interruptions. This recording is also being live streamed to YouTube so that we can actually have a copy on YouTube as well. If for any reason these things don't work, I'm happy to record it again. So as we start, whether you're in small business or freelancing by choice, lifestyle, location, or love, there's no better way to market yourself than by hyperlocal marketing. And this webinar is going to cover online and offline tools that you can use for hyperlocal marketing, basic technical settings for your WordPress website and Google Plus account, social media essentials, and networking tips and tricks. And one of the books I've written is 120 Ways to Achieve Your Purpose. Sorry, I'll get that again. 120 Ways to Market Your Business Hyperlocally. And in that is a marketing idea viability tool, which asks you certain questions to help you decide whether a marketing idea is actually going to be worthwhile investing in. So you can run any idea that you've got to market your business through that 20-question assessment. And then you can decide whether, yes, you'll proceed with that idea, or no, you won't. So I'll be sending that through as well. So let's get moving. By way of background, my working career started 6 days after my last Year 12 exam in 1982. And in 1987, I was stuck in front of a computer and said, off you go. And at that point, I didn't even know how to turn it on. But a very big influence in my life is when I moved to Melbourne from Adelaide in 1994, and I set up my first website in 2001, newcomersnetwork.com, which is still running today. I'm one of the first 80,000 people in the world on LinkedIn, and so I've got heaps of connections. In fact, it's over 14,000 now. Loads of views per 90 days, and I'm a member of the Australian Human Resources Institute, the Career Development Association of Australia, the Australian Society of Authors, the Institute of Managers and Leaders, and Melbourne Press Club. Also recently joined Writers Victoria. So I've been teaching at the CAE in the CBD of Melbourne since 2014, and I've also taught RMIT short courses. I run LinkedIn there. I've taught at Monash, heaps of other clients, training, speak at conferences, you name it, I do it. So yeah, and I love it. I'm currently writing my 4th book, which is called Gigsters, which will be coming out very, very soon. Another really important component of who I am as a person is the amount of voluntary work that I've done. And a lot of people don't believe in voluntary work. They think, oh, well, I'm not going to be paid. Why should I do it? But I've had some amazing opportunities through my voluntary career, and I really think it's worthwhile. One of the most exciting was I was involved in the Scouts Jamboree, and I spent 2 weeks taking kids sailing on Sydney Harbour. I reckon that's a pretty good way to spend time. So yeah, I'd really encourage you, if you're not already, to consider doing some voluntary work. It's a great way to meet people, and also for you to feel a lot more a part of a community. One of my clients is a mortgage broker, and he was actively involved in the local football club, and that turned out to be an excellent source of leads for his mortgage broking business. So let's start off with online tools for hyperlocal marketing that are based on your location. And when I think of hyperlocal, I think location is obviously the most obvious one. So I usually say within sort of 10 to 15 kilometres, or if you're in the country, that could be sort of 100 to 200 kilometres away. And also, I also think of it as a niche. So you might be really well known in your particular niche, and that's still hyperlocal because you can market your services within that particular niche. And the final one is by a particular occasion. So hyperlocal is if you were trying to target everybody who was at the MCG on grand final day, that would be, hyperlocal activity because everybody is at that one spot at a one particular time. So, but, I'm going to start off today with location-based hyperlocal marketing. And one of the most important things to do is make sure that you have a Google business account. Now, I realise some of you may already have that. And what it is it's what appears on the right-hand side of the screen when somebody Googles you or, your name or your business. So if we just quickly go to Google, and I'll show you how this looks when somebody Googles my name. So I'll just put my name into Google. And this is my Google business account over here on the right. So I've actually got one for my personal name. And a lot of freelancers and small business owners, we sort of are the business. So you can see that I've got my location there. I haven't mentioned my address, it's just showing my suburb. But when this shows on a mobile device, all of this stuff here is on the first screen of your mobile device. So if you don't have that Google business location, you're losing all of that real estate on the internet, when people actually Google you. And so, that's really important. And one of the other websites I have is Camberwell Network, which is a local network that I run. And here again, you can see this is my location for Camberwell Network, and it gives up a lot of that screen real estate. Also, as you scroll down, you can see reviews, a little bit more detail and so on. So if you have an enterprise, really encourage you to go to business.google.com and set that all up. If you don't want your actual physical address to show, you can just say that you only serve customers with an address and not at your premises, and that will actually get you started and enable people to start writing reviews. If it says claim this business, then obviously Google has determined you are a business, but you don't own that account. And you actually want to make sure that you own this Google account rather than your web developer or your SEO expert, search engine optimization expert, or any other sort of consultants that you have working for you. It needs to be on your Google account. And I'll go through a few more reasons as to why that's so important a little bit later. Now, a lot of people think that Yellow Pages is dead, but believe it or not, you can get one free listing on Google, Yellow Pages for each phone number that you have. Thanks, Russell, for the question. There's no cost to that Google business account. But Yellow Pages, they do charge, but you actually can get one free listing in one category of Yellow Pages for free. And this is really important because Google looks at the information on Yellow Pages to even verify your address. So particularly if you're a brand new business, really great idea to get that listing in Yellow Pages. Now, Yellow Pages won't give you a website link, and that's why I'm recommending that you also attach a profile to the True Local one, because that's also owned by Census or Yellow Pages, and obviously that data is cross-matched with Google information as well. So we always want to be letting Google know that, you know, we are where we actually are. And I tried to sort of game the system and say, look, you know, I can serve customers anywhere in the world, so I'll say that I'm happy to service anybody 999 miles from where I live. But Google's probably number one criteria for search results is actually location. So if I'm sitting in Lilydale and looking for a hairdresser, it's not going to recommend a hairdresser in Werribee, you know, unless the Werribee hairdresser is trying to optimise for Lilydale search results. But it's also going to know that I'm actually in Lilydale when I'm looking for that hairdresser. So, because my phone or the computer that I'm logged into is in that local area. So location is really, really important. So if you can have your profile on these spots, it really makes a big difference. There's also a lot of local directories that you can potentially have access to. So some of the councils in Victoria offer you an opportunity to list your business on the council's managed business directory. It could either be on the council website or on another website that they manage. My local council used to have one, the City of Berendara, but it has been removed because it was impossible to maintain and people didn't update their details. So again, it's really important that you create a spreadsheet of everywhere you are online and list where you are so that if your business details change, you can update it. But also if you're in a shopping strip or a precinct, you can list on there. Again, if you're a freelancer, you'll quite often be able to put a listing on those portals as well. And Neighbour is a neighbourhood area website that I actually didn't think would get off the ground, but they're still going and they seem to be penetrating the market quite well, and that's all location based. So you actually have to decide where you're going to be located for Neighbour. And if you've got multiple locations, you can actually reach out to them and say, look, I'm in Werribee, Lilydale and, you know, other places, and they can potentially list you on those other spots as well. In your website settings, particularly in WordPress, which is what I use, you can change your site language to Australian English, so that's sort of a little clue that you're in Australia, and also your time zone to Melbourne or Victorian time zone. And on your Contact Us page, you might like to embed a Google map. Now, this is very similar to embedding a Google YouTube video, or sorry, a YouTube video. YouTube's owned by Google. So really can encourage you to do that. So what you'll need to do is find your location. This is particularly if you're a retail shop or a professional practice or something. Get the red pin on the map, click on that, then click share, and then get the embed a map code, and then you can pop that on your website. Google Search Console is at google.com/webmasters. And in what you'll have to do is add your website to Google Webmasters, and then you'll have what's called a property. And then you click on search traffic and international targeting. Now, this is particularly useful if you have a .com website address, because obviously it doesn't know where you're based if you're .com. Now, if you're .com.au, it will automatically choose Australia. But I like having .com domain names, so I can either choose to target people in Australia, or I can leave it international by changing that setting in Google Webmasters. It's very easy to do. And obviously on your social media profiles, you can add your address. So some of this information wasn't possible when social media accounts were first opened, but you've probably noticed over time, particularly with things like Facebook, there's more and more sections that you can fill in and actually have details added. So really encourage you to add your address if you want that publicly visible, or if not, just your suburb. because again, Google cross-references social media. And you might have noticed significant change in your Google search results mid last year, when what actually happened is if you were not active on social media, your website appearances in search results dramatically decreased. So Google is making sure, look, are you a legitimate business or not? And we have decided more or less that unless you're active on some form of social media, we're not just going to give you traffic. So one of my clients was regularly receiving 5,000 visits a month to her website, which was great. It generated all the business that she needed. But because she wasn't active on social media, it dropped virtually to zero almost overnight. So yeah, it was a really big difference to her business. And as I said before, please feel free to pop in any questions in the chat box there so that I can answer those as we go through. Okay, so the next thing that I'd like to talk about is online tools that are based around your particular niche, or as the Americans say, niche. And one of the things that I think a lot of people forget about is becoming a member of a professional association. And a lot of Australians I've found say, oh, look, I paid $300 and I never read the magazine and there's no point. Well, I entirely disagree. Also, some people say, look, they're a Mickey Mouse association and everyone in the industry hates them. Well, that may be the case, but the clients and customers that you have may feel that you're a much better plumber or freelancer of any description if you're associated with a professional association. And I could name a couple of associations that sort of have bad reputations within the industry and good reputations, outside of it, but I won't. I don't want to incriminate anyone. But I have had to have that discussion with some of my clients because they've been reluctant to become a member of that professional association. But, for instance, if we take the plumber example, it looks good to say that you're a member of Master Plumbers Australia. That's a really good thing. And if you don't know what the professional association is for your industry, what you can actually do is look up the My Future website. You will need your postcode to register for that. And you can search by job occupation, and then it will give you the names of the professional associations associated with that industry. So that will give you some clues if you're not aware of them already. You can also look at what the membership offering is. So for instance, if you're a psychologist, you can become a member of the Australian Psychological Society and you can pay extra to have a very comprehensive profile on the Find a Psychologist listing. So on that page, you can put a whole range of information on the different types of psychological services you specialise in. And then that's a unique page on the internet on a highly reputable website. And then you can link back to that and prove that, you really are a qualified psychologist. And it just, gives you so much more credibility, particularly if you're out there on your own. Likewise, there's also some specific portals for your industry or profession. And what they do is they aggregate information for that entire industry. And so whilst there's generic things like LinkedIn or Facebook or something which is more generic, Casting Networks is somewhere that if you're an actor or talent, you basically have to have a profile on or you won't be found by casting agents. Natural Therapy Pages ranks extremely well in Google search results. So if you're a brand new natural therapist, I actually believe it's worth paying for a profile on that website because it will come up in Google search results very quickly once you've created that profile there. And I believe that a lot of creatives have a profile on Behance where they can actually showcase some of their creative work. So again, look for the specific portal in your industry or profession. If anybody can recommend any others, feel free to pop those in the chat box. Also, you need to think about making sure that you have a lot of keyword-based content on your website, in your blog section on your website, and really, really important is the titles of any of your content. So this includes the titles on your YouTube videos, any information you have on posts, any information that you have in images, You know, really rename everything so that you're focusing on what you want to do. So you can see there that I've created a file name for an image, bathroom-renovations-Ballarat. So you could put the name of your business in as well if you do bathroom renovations, but obviously more people are going to be looking for bathroom renovations Ballarat than necessarily the name of your business, unless loads of people know that you're the best person for bathroom renovations. And also, if you're not sure how to find or create your list of primary and secondary keywords, you can click on that link and that gives you some more suggestions as to where you might be able to find those. But just as another quick example, there was a student who came along to one of the CAE courses I ran, and he ran a music school. So he kept trying to title everything Music School Northcote. And that sounds terrific, but the only problem is people who want to learn a musical instrument, they don't look for a music school, they look for a music teacher or piano lessons or something like that. So again, when you think about the keywords that you want to be known for, you really need to think about what your customers or clients would be searching for and include that type of content to make sure that you come up in those search results. And if you want it to be based, you know, not just on your niche, but on a particular suburb, then you can add that in as well. And try and be consistent with your keywords across all of your online profiles. So don't say, I'm going to maximize this group over here and that group over there. Try and really be consistent. You can also sign into Google AdWords and find out what words are highly competitive, what words are highly used or called high frequency. The gold is if you can find high frequency and low competition. That would be amazing. That doesn't happen too often, but if you've got content on your websites and on your profiles and everywhere else that has those words, then you've got a much better chance of coming up in your particular niche. And try and be consistent with your hashtags as well. For those of you who don't know what hashtags are, it's a little hash symbol, which is above the 3 on your keyboard and a word. And what it enables people to do is find information all related to that particular topic. Okay, moving right along. Now, online tools for hyperlocal marketing. And one of the things that is becoming more and more important is online reviews. And I have found so far that reviews on Google seem to provide the maximum bang for buck, but obviously it's fraught with a little bit of danger. So on the bottom of this slide, I've given you some links if you're worried about getting bad reviews or complaints. But I have asked hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people at presentations that I've done to write me a Google review, and I've still only got about 30 reviews. So getting people to write them can be quite tricky. But one thing I can tell you is that one of my clients got 1 review on Truelocal. And because that's so location-based, all of a sudden his phone started ringing and he offered iPhone repairs. And that was really incredible. So, you know, it was fantastic to see that that worked so quickly. So whilst you want to get Google reviews, if you can make sure that at least 1 person writes a Truelocal review, that's also really important. Thanks, Russell, for your question on hashtags. Are they a Twitter thing? Well, they started on Twitter, so that's where they began. But now, yes, they work across other social media as well. Particularly useful on Instagram. Instagram basically relies on hashtags to identify what the image is related to. If you use too many hashtags on Facebook, you look a bit like a try-hard. LinkedIn has only recently introduced hashtags, and I found it very good for helping disseminate content to people who are interested in that topic. So definitely worth considering, but just, you know, use according to what social media wants. Now, in terms of reviews, you also want to think about if you're in a particular niche. So if you're in hospitality and restaurants or food of some sort, you definitely want to have a profile on Zomato. And Yelp is very generic. I created a profile on Yelp and basically, you know, the next day it showed up on Google search results. But unless people visit it regularly, it doesn't appear to stay there. So, you know, as I said, I've got a profile on there. I don't highly recommend it, but I have heard a lot of people in the trades say that word of mouth is very good. And if you look at the front page of their website, there's, thousands of apparently word of mouth reviews on there as well. So, yeah, but please don't organise a party at your house, provide free drinks and pizza, and get everybody to log in and write reviews for you, because a lot of these reviews websites will have detection tools. And so if they see that everything is coming from the same computer with the same what's called IP address, Internet Protocol address, then they're going to say, well, somebody's spamming the system here. And one of my clients got a very negative review that also included swearing. And so we wrote to Google and managed to get that removed. So there are ways to get around it, but as I said, I'm not going to go into that now. You can check out those other articles. But also there's a really good article on the ACCC website about managing online reviews that I definitely recommend. Now, the other thing that I've created on my WordPress website, I've added a plugin called WP Customer Reviews. And this enables people to write reviews on my website without having to log in to a Google account, which is why a lot of people don't end up writing reviews. So I'm going to quickly show you this because I think it's really important to show you how this works. So what will happen is a lot of people, as you can see here, they type my name and then they type these other words. And obviously one of them is the word reviews because they want to know, what I'm like. So if you Google Sue Ellson reviews, you'll see that I've created a page on my Sue Ellson website called reviews, and you can see these stars appearing. And that's because I have that WP Customer Reviews plugin installed and it appears here. And you can also see that Google has picked up the true local review that I've got, plus the 47 Google reviews over here. And then it's, it sometimes even says reviews on websites over here. But, this ranks first. And so if people come through to this, what they'll actually, because I encourage people to write reviews, they can write reviews on any of these websites by clicking these links, or they can create their own review. Now, if somebody writes me a review, I don't edit it apart from spelling mistakes. And I always reply to it, and I always reply with my name and a little smiley face. So I'm optimizing my name again, and you might want to optimize your business name. But yeah, so I can make sure that these are all spelt correctly before they get published on my website. If I was, really upset, I could even delete the review, but I wouldn't want to do that. I want it to be a fair assessment of what people think. And also, if I got their permission and they just emailed me a testimonial, then I could republish that here as well, so that they don't even have to log in. So if you get a really nice email, then obviously you can, potentially add that to the reviews page of your website. You can see here I've got reviews. So I hope that encourages you to think about reviews as a really good strategy, because a lot of people will, if they've not heard of you before, they will try and check out your reviews before they come and contact you for work and business opportunities. So, offline tools. Now, one of my absolute favourites is speaking at local events. And the reason for that is, well, you don't have to organise the event, so it saves you a lot of time, money and effort. But when the invitation goes out to everybody to invite them to that event, your details and the nature of your business goes out to everyone on their entire database. So particularly if it's a local event, this can be really, really helpful. Then when you actually go to the event, you obviously have your details in front of every attendee. So it's not like networking where you might meet 3 to 5 people at an event. When you're the speaker, you actually get to meet everyone in the room. And what I also do is I offer a door prize, and I provide little slips of paper that people can add their name and email address, because believe it or not, thanks to digital technology nowadays, a lot of people don't have business cards. So I provide this little flyer, and I get them to tear off their name and email address and put that in a bowl, and I offer them a copy of one of my books as a door prize. So it promotes my book, and it also gives me names and email addresses that I can then invite to connect with me on LinkedIn. Now, I don't spam them. I don't invite them to anything else. If they don't accept my connection request on LinkedIn, I do not worry. But, it's a really great way to connect with them. And then if they see my information in their LinkedIn newsfeed, then they'll be reminded that I exist and they might be interested in coming and getting some further advice from me at some later point. And that later point could be up to 8 to 10 years later, which is what happened recently with a particular client. Also, if you want to use sort of a high-tech version and everybody in the room is likely to have LinkedIn on their actual phone, there's now a feature, if you turn on Bluetooth, to choose Find Nearby. So what you'll do on your LinkedIn app is you'll click on the little two-person picture on the bottom of your screen, and when you do that, Find Nearby appears in the top, and then what you can do is just press that. Everybody's got Bluetooth turned on, and it acts a little bit like a dating app, and then you can just add in all the people who are at the event. Now, it's not as efficient as the door prize, but if that's all you've got, and a lot of people are digital savvy at your event, it makes you look really cool, and it's a way of connecting with those people. And then obviously when you get back to your computer, you can see who recently joined your network on LinkedIn and reach out to them and say, thanks for coming to the event. Here's a link to my website, you know, if I can help you with X, please let me know, and so on. You can also try and find out events where you might be able to speak in the future by looking at Eventbrite, by looking at Meetup, or even looking at the Business Victoria website and looking at the events. But rather than just say, hi, I'm a great speaker, can I come to your event? It might be a really good idea to go to one of their events first and make sure that the audience is right for your target thing, and you know, find out whether it's going to be worth your while preparing a presentation and being involved with that particular event. I really encourage hyperlocal businesses to support local traders association, chambers of commerce, local council run activities. I know that in the Geelong area, they're extremely active, and there's a lot of co-productions between chambers and VECI, the Victorian Employers Chamber of Commerce, and the council and manufacturing groups. You know, there's a lot of co-run things, and that's a really great way to get yourself known in the local area. And what's even better is a lot of those events are free or low cost, and if you meet those centres of influence, then they can introduce you to their sort of clients. So for 6 months, I worked in real estate in Camberwell, and I joined this real estate business. And what I did is I went around speaking at local business networks on the topic of social media. And of course, who did I use as a case study? But the real estate business. And within 6 months, every single person in the area knew that I was in real estate. And I also got involved with the local Camberwell Traders Association, because I figured if I knew all the traders and they know all the people in the local area, that would be a really good network to get involved in. So I supported a lot of their activities, and you know, within 6 months, the real estate firm, which was really small, ended up on the first page of Google search results for real estate agents Camberwell. We're getting media inquiries for anybody who had questions about Camberwell, and they had their busiest period in 25 years, straight after Christmas. So it really, really worked. You can network 24 hours a day. Do you have a way of choosing what to do and what to let go? Well, again, you really need to work out what's going to work best for you. And I will be talking about networking a little bit later. And one of the things that I really encourage is you to identify 3 types of networking activity that work best for you. And, you know, it has to be something you enjoy. So I started Camberwell Network when I had left real estate, and because I built up all this social capital and I really got to like these people, and I live in Canterbury, so Camberwell's nice and close. Now, for 6 years, believe it or not, I've been running a free monthly event, and everybody pays for their own drinks, and we do it on a night when it's not busy at the restaurant. It's the 3rd Wednesday of the month, so you're welcome to join us if you'd like to come. And basically people just turn up, and we have somebody give their 5 best tips, and then we invite everybody else to share a tip on that, you know, particular topic. The last one was on videos, which is really, really important for marketing your business nowadays. And yeah, and I thought for a while, oh no, I haven't got time to run this network, even though it only took me about 4 hours a month to do it. And then I realised I missed everybody. So, you know, determining which network is going to work for you is you've got to sort of like going there. And I always suggest that before you join up with any particular group and pay some yearly fee, that you go along at least twice, because quite often the first time everybody's super friendly and the next time you're sort of just part of the crowd. So you really want to make sure that it's a really good fit. I've been invited to some other business networks where you have to come every week and you pay a yearly fee, and that just doesn't work for me. You know, it's not the ideal cup of tea for me. And my second book is about 120 ways to attract the right career or business. So you really need to think, where are your ideal clients? What do you really enjoy doing? You know, where are they, and what would you think would be beneficial? And it's not always about generating business. Sometimes it's actually about improving your knowledge and expertise, because you really need to keep that up to date as well. So hopefully that helps as well, Russell. I also, if you're going to go offline, which is, you know, it almost sounds old-fashioned nowadays, but it's really, really helpful, is developing partnerships, strategic alliances and joint ventures with complementary but non-competing local enterprises. So for instance, if you're a hairdresser and there's a local beauty shop somewhere close by, then you can offer discounts and referrals. And so I'm very close to Mailing Road, which is a destination in Melbourne, and there's a lot of little shops that got together for a special Mother's Day promotion. And what they did is they gave this voucher, and I don't know, for about $150, you could get your hair cut, your nails done, and some sort of beauty treatment, you know, 3 different providers. And that was sort of a trail of services, and it gave you a way to be introduced to 3 of the enterprises in that local strip. So, you know, definitely consider that. I'll be talking about engagement ratio later, but another thing you can do is share each other's posts on social media. So they say, oh, there's that really nice business who always likes our stuff or shares it with their network. So that'll give you, you know, heaps of good brownie points. And but definitely make sure your arrangement is both good for you and good for them. So, you know, obviously you don't want to cut your own lunch, and you know, do yourself out of business. But you know, I've had some people who come to me for LinkedIn advice, and I've realised, look, I'm not the right LinkedIn person for you. I think you would be better off with this other LinkedIn specialist. And so I've actually referred some people onto other people, because I know we're not a right fit. So really think about what sort of networking you want to do that's going to work for you. And those partnerships and strategic alliances. I mean, you don't see the bosses of large mega corporations put an ad on Facebook to do a deal with somebody. You know, they're out there pressing the flesh, you know, shaking hands, meeting people, organising meetings, and that's how business is done. So please don't assume that everything has to be done online. There's lots of offline stuff that you can do that can actually work really, really well. And by the way, keep asking your questions as we go through. I'm more than happy to answer them. Now, WordPress website. So I teach how to create a simple WordPress website at the CAE. And again, as I said before, you can change your site language and your time zone, and you can embed your Google Map, and set your setting up on Google Webmasters, but also Google Plus. And this is really, really important, particularly if you are your business. So as I said earlier, please prepare an Excel spreadsheet of all of your online content, the date that you added it to your list, the name of whatever it is, the link and the archive link, and then add it to Google+. Now, I'm going to show you this because I just think it's so important, as I said, particularly for freelancers. I was working with a guy yesterday, and you Google his name and nothing comes up until the second page, and that's because he hasn't told Google where his content is. So you can see here I'm at plus.google.com, and if I click on Profile, and then if I click on Edit Profile, and then if I click on this little I in a circle, About Me. And over here on the right-hand side, you'll see that I've got sites, and here are all the links that are in my spreadsheet of where I am online. So if somebody Googles me, all of this content is much more likely to come up than some other content. So this is also a risk mitigation strategy for me. So if for some reason I get some bad content about me, it has to beat all of this other stuff that I've told Google about. Now, some people will tell you there's no point having a Google Plus profile because nobody uses it. And I think of Google Plus as Google's version of Facebook. And if you wanted to try and treat it like Facebook, you're really wasting your time because there's really not enough people on there. And interestingly, I had a group of students work on a project for me, and they looked at my Google Plus profile and said, oh, well, nobody's following you. You might as well delete that. And I thought, my goodness, if I deleted it, think about all these links that I couldn't tell Google that I have online. I mean, that would just be suicide for my Google search results. So please, if you learn nothing else from today, create a Google Plus profile and link to all of your content. It's really, really worthwhile to do that. And, you know, also you can add little posts as well now, and that's a way to get your latest content up and out there as well. So that's on the Google Business account. So the post, when you put it up, lasts 7 days. So if you put something up every 6 days, you will get more screen real estate. Now, I haven't followed my own advice here because I haven't been posting because I'm busy writing at the moment, but I'll just quickly show you how to do that as well. So if we go to business.google.com, and we'll use my Sue Ellson profile. And over here it says posts. Now what you'll see is the previous post that I've made. So I've been featured in the Daily Mail recently, so I've shared that, and then I wrote an article on posts and so on. So what you do is you add a little image, which is normally a square, so you put the image in first, and then you write a little post, and then you choose add a button, learn more, and then you put a link to your article. Now, what that does is when you Google Sue Ellson, so just in Google search results, what it does on the right-hand side is it puts those posts in this area here. So it gives you even more screen real estate. So if you're doing it every 6 days, it will have a little wheel of posts and go through all of them. But because it's been more than 7 days since I've done one, I've lost that screen real estate. But the reason I also encourage people to do this is it says, all right, I better add more content to my website every 6 days. So it sort of gives you a reason to do it because it's going to add, you know, content to Google and make you, and most businesses don't do it. So if you're the only business in your local area that's doing it, then obviously you're much more likely to come up in Google search results. So, you know, really encourage you to consider writing posts every 6 days. So please, I'd love to hear from you guys. What's been most valuable so far? Because it's really important to know that this sort of stuff is making sense to you all. And if there's anything that I need to explain in more detail, please pop that in the chat box. I'm more than happy to go over it again. Now, everybody's been talking about social media. And as I said before, everybody should be on Google Plus in my view. And I also think you should be on LinkedIn because if you're a small business, people are going to Google you. And if you want to know more about the other things you can do with it, I really encourage you to look at the benefits of LinkedIn article that I wrote on Quora. It's a really great way to build your database of clients online and for them to recommend you to others in the future. It's a really great way to maintain relationships, to find people, to publish your content, to have your content appear in Google search results, and so on. Thanks, Joanne. Your question on other search engines like DuckDuckGo. There are more people who are choosing to go to other search platforms because they don't like Google for a variety of reasons. But if you look at the numbers of people who use Google, it's much more significant. So it's around the 90% of people on the internet use Google. And I think about 4% use Bing because when you have a Microsoft computer, they basically force you to use Bing. But yeah, by all means, see how you go on DuckDuckGo. I think there's better ad blockers and stuff like that on those platforms. So you might find that will help you as well. So yeah, that's a good one. Most of the companies I deal with are Central Melbourne, based in Ascot Vale. Right, okay. I don't believe you should lie about anything, but one of my clients is a jewellery maker, and she obviously didn't want her address in the southeastern suburbs to be mentioned because then obviously her jewellery, you know, her house could be broken into and her jewellery stolen. So what we did is we contacted one of the places where her jewellery was actually showcased, which turned out to be in Collins Street in the CBD. And we asked them if we could use their address as her address. And they were more than happy to do that because they obviously stocked her stuff. So if most of your clients, Russell, are in the CBD, see if you can liaise with somebody and list that address. But you can still optimise for Melbourne, Ascot Vale's still reasonably close, so I wouldn't be too anxious about it. At the end of the day, getting referrals from existing clients is still one of the best ways to get it. Wendy, fantastic info, lots of updating to do. Yes, lots of people tell me there's always work to do after they've listened to one of my presentations. So I'm really pleased it's providing value to you, Wendy. I'm a learning junkie. I go between 1 and 4 events per week, online and offline. I was at a fantastic event last night for the University of South Australia alumni at the Docklands, fabulous event. Hearing about what they're doing in the university space and education. So yeah, and I love it when I get value out of an event. So as a result, I never waffle. I always try to make sure that what I provide is useful to you. Now, social media stats. As I said earlier, one of the things that's really interesting is Google is taking notice of what you are doing on social media. And interestingly, because I run a course at the CAE called Social Media Strategy for Business, I looked up the social media stats for how many active monthly users were on Facebook. And because I started running this last year, at the time there were 17 million active monthly users on Facebook in Australia. Now, interestingly, if we fast forward 12 months, there's now only 15 million active monthly users on Facebook. So I suspect Cambridge Analytica had something to do with all of this, but also if you've decided that Instagram or Snapchat or Facebook or LinkedIn or whichever platform is the main one you're going to use, you really need to understand how it's performing and whether or not it's actually reaching the niche audience that you want. So please check that out. And Census produced some amazing social media reports that I really encourage you to have a look at. And the previous one from last year was absolutely fascinating. And this I actually find really scary because it turns out that most Australian businesses pay money for social media marketing and advertising, boosting posts and ads and so on and so forth. And in most cases, they were not getting a return on investment, but they still felt that it was worthwhile. Now, I just find that really, really scary. Why would you spend money if you're not getting a return on it? And I tried to explain this to that guy I mentioned earlier, the mortgage broker, who was getting heaps of business and opportunities out of supporting the local football club. But then because his friend said, oh, but you should be advertising on Facebook and doing stuff on Facebook, he thought that was essential. Now, I spent 3 hours teaching him all about Facebook. And then he told me at the end of that training that the guy who had spent all of his money on Facebook, he had actually wasted a huge amount of time. He'd spent money, and worse still, all of the leads he got from his Facebook marketing campaign were duds, and it turned out to be just ridiculous. But he had run a Facebook campaign. So I guess the lesson to learn from that is if you are going to invest in social media marketing of any sort, paid or unpaid, you really need to be very clear about how much time and how much money you're going to dedicate to it. And if you've decided that it's going to work for you, I really encourage you to speak to an expert and get their help. These platforms are changing daily. I am on a LinkedIn group of LinkedIn specialists around the world, but mostly in the US and the UK. And I kid you not, I get 50 messages a day from the different things that are changing and that they're commenting on about LinkedIn. So there is no way a hyperlocal business can keep up with all of that. So if you are going to go down that route, please get some education. Don't just think, oh, but 3,000 people saw it. Yeah, but did they visit your website? Did they buy what you're selling? Did they end up on your database? I mean, what happened? You really need to be very, very clear of that. Now, those reports, even the first one, it's actually really cool because what it does is it puts a lot of graphics on it. The must-know stats, almost 8 in 10, you know, all these people are using social media and they've taken selfies and they're on social media, and a lot of them are in the evening. So I actually start posting a lot in the evening because that also helps me reach my international market. So, you know, there's really good data in here and it's all Australian. So, you know, I think it's really, really worthwhile checking out that information on those 2 links. That's it there. If you haven't got a website yet, is it worthwhile investing in a landing page in the interim? Actually, that's a really good question, and I'm going to show you an example of why that's important. Oh dear, I just lost the chat box then. One of the people who came to me, I did a little LinkedIn presentation to the Piano Tuners and Technicians Guild, and one of the people there didn't have a website, but he'd been paying money every month for a Yellow Pages ad. So if you look for Piano Tuner Albert Park, right? Now, he can't beat those because they are paid ads. And this is his Yellow Pages that I told him not to stop paying for because I didn't want him to lose that ranking and it had been generating business for him. But this one here is his free Google website. So you don't even need to pay for a landing page. You can create your own little Google business website. So to do that, you go to your business account, business.google.com. This is a really great question. Thanks for asking. And I'll show you my Sue Ellson one again. And here it says website. So you just click that and then away you go. You create your own little website. It's got a couple of different themes, some text you can put in, some photos and some more settings. And it basically pulls information from your blog posts. There's the text that I put in, put a couple of images in and your contact details and voila. And as I said, it works so well, like that's what he's paid for. That's what he's not paying for. He's got 2 representations and his Google business website even beats his profile on the Piano Tuners website. So it's a really good example. We got him his business location. We put his radius there, so that's where he's happy to work. We put photos in here. So you don't even have to pay for a landing page. You can literally just do that. And I would also suggest you fill in your LinkedIn profile. That's absolutely essential too. So if people are Googling your name, that pops up as well. So hopefully that answers that question for you. Helpful. The importance of creating profiles to help with online exposure. Yes, absolutely. Great. Okay, thanks for that question, Quinn. Really, really, really good. Okay, next. We've done that one. Right. In terms of social media, you must not put all your eggs in one basket. Now, again, last year, there were a lot of businesses that were making heaps of money out of Facebook. And Facebook was the tool that they used to attract people to their website. And there's one website I know of, a Korean pop music website, and he told me that he's making 500 grand a year via Facebook. But he had 80 people around the world managing his page, and everybody would come to his website, buy his merchandise and Korean pop music tickets and so on. So, but what happened with the algorithm changes is you might have, I don't know, 500 likes on your Facebook page. And when you first had 500 likes on Facebook, you know, some years ago, and you put something on your Facebook page, 500 people would be notified. But what happened is as more and more Facebook pages were created, there was too much content. So they had to change the algorithm. And now the algorithm is so bad, you could have 500 likes on your Facebook page and you would be lucky if 2% of those people see your post on your Facebook page. Now that's pretty scary. And you could say, well, you know, blow that, I'm not going to post on Facebook. But if you're not active on social media, Google will penalise you. So you do need to be, you know, doing something on social media on a regular basis. Now, I've recently found out that if you boost a post on LinkedIn, it doesn't do as well as creating a Facebook promotion directly. So that might be something you want to think about. but I would never rely on any one social media channel to be the main source of business for my products and services. So please, likewise, do not do it. It's absolutely not worth it. The only content at the end of the day that you really own is that which is on your own website. Now, I mentioned earlier about the engagement ratio. So if you think, all right, I'm just going to post every 6 days, and I'm going to share my content and then I'll get back to business. Well, that would be great, except the algorithms also are checking to see what you're actually doing on social media. So if you're only just pushing out your own content and not participating with any other content, I mean, it is social media, it's not, broadcast media, you really need to be able to engage. So a really good goal is to, you put one thing out and then you like, comment or share 12 other people's stuff. Now, if you think about whose content do you want to like, comment or share, obviously it's the people that you do business with. So your clients, your stakeholders, your suppliers, and they'll say, wow, isn't that nice that, so-and-so liked our stuff, and it gives you, good brownie points as well. This piece of advice I need to take myself, and I've worked up to screen share videos, and I'm eventually going to be doing live videos. But yep, YouTube is the second biggest search engine. It's owned by Google. Videos are making a huge difference. But if you upload videos, please make sure that you turn comments to approved only, so you don't get trolls trashing your stuff. You definitely don't want to have that headache. So yeah, start thinking about YouTube videos. This other seminar I went to recently said that this particular business produced 250 videos in their first year. They were a brand new startup, and the next year they increased it to 600, and now they are a fully legitimate international business, just crushing it. So please think about videos. It's really a huge direction that people are going. Is sharing the content outside of the social media platform detrimental to the platform? Oh, right, yeah, okay, great question, Russell. This one, a lot of people think that if they link to a video elsewhere, then they're going to lose, the algorithms won't share your content as frequently. And that's true. If you upload a native video to Facebook or LinkedIn, or you do a Facebook Live video, it has been shown that those videos will perform much better and go much further. However, they only go further in the newsfeed. So after that newsfeed cycle has ended, you have no longevity after that. And so I figure I'm not so worried about whether I get longevity or virality right now. I'd rather have longevity and build my digital asset. So yes, I plan to do the odd Facebook Live video or something like that, but I'm still much more interested in increasing the size of my digital footprint or my digital asset. And so I truly believe that having videos that are available for search results at all times is ultimately going to be better for me in the longer term. What I have noticed on social media posts is that if you upload an image first, then start typing your post and have a link, that will perform better than if you put the link in and it automatically picks an image out of the link. So that might be a way around it, Russell, if you add a picture from the video to the post and then link to the YouTube video or wherever you've put it. What I did recently, and this actually made a difference, and I wish I could have maintained it, but I've just been a bit too busy writing this fourth book, is sorry, I'll just go back here. On my 120 Ways website, in my blog, I started doing screenshot videos, and I did one a week for 4 weeks, and all of a sudden I started selling books. So this is a way to sort of repurpose my content. So I produced my 5 little tips, then I produced a video, I put it on YouTube, and then I transcribed it and made sure that if you watch this video, you can see the captions, and they've all been checked for spelling. And then I've got the transcript of the video here as well. So if people just want to read it and they don't want to watch the whole video, they can do it. So I then shared this link on social media. So I had the opportunity to broadcast the link at the time. I've got this lifelong content on my website, and I've got this video that actually comes up in YouTube search results. So if you go to YouTube and you do networking, and please try this at home to make sure it doesn't just, I'm not just fudging it for now, LinkedIn, there's my video on the top of search results in YouTube. So yeah, I always go for the long game as well as the short game if I possibly can. So that might help you with that decision, Russell. Thanks again, great question. I'll just go back, make sure I did everything on that previous screen. Yeah, so that goes back to, yeah, that digital footprint and you having control of it. And if you do have videos, make sure you own the YouTube channel, not somebody else. Don't get some video production company to do it and then, you know, you lose it. Also, regardless of what expert advice you get, remember that you know your business better than anyone else. So, you know, you make sure that the content that you produce is aligned with that. Yeah, I hope that answers the question. And again, feel free to ask any more questions. Networking. So we're getting close to our 1 hour, very close. Arrive early, leave last, you get maximum value. Try and understand each person you meet. They may not be the ideal contact, but most people know 250 others, so they're going to likely refer you to somebody else who could help you. Follow up and do everything you say you will after the event, otherwise you've completely wasted your time doing it. Thank the organisers as well, because so many organisers are never thanked for offering an event. So you'll get brownie points and be remembered if you do that. And even better, take some photos at the event, go afterwards, Google them, write an online review, add your photos. You'd be amazed at how many views I'm getting on the reviews I've posted for other people. It's been really amazing. If you look up the Governance Institute of Australia, my photos are actually part of their profile. So yeah, really, really worthwhile. Make a point when you walk into the room, if you see someone you recognise, to say hello and perhaps invite them to meet someone new with you. Target the people who are standing on their own. They don't normally know who to talk to. So if you come up and talk to them, that's great. And if you've got your LinkedIn app on your phone, there's a little feature where you can connect with them straight away. So you just press your finger in the search box and then scan code will come up and a little QR code will appear on your screen and you can connect with each other that way, which is better than that find nearby one that I mentioned earlier if you're the speaker. And I really encourage you to get out of the house, your office or your shop on a regular basis and be with other people. One of the really important things about being in small business or a freelancer is making sure that you have people who know, like and trust you and support you even when you get a pain in the ass client or a shitty customer or whatever. Those people will love you regardless, and it's really, really important to have those people in your life. In fact, I think this point is absolutely the most important part of being in small business or a freelancer. If you are a freelancer, there's an amazing group on Facebook called Freelance Jungle, which I really encourage you, if you're a freelancer, to get involved in. It's really good. Network building amongst kinder and school. Right, 3 kids. Boy, Russell, you're busy. Amongst kinder and school, you know, I find that if you volunteer, quite often what people say, and what do you do, Russell? And it's a really great segue into doing it. And your kids love it when you actually get involved with their school as well. So just going to quickly run through the questions I got. LinkedIn page for business, I definitely recommend it. Put your logo on there, and that means that you've got another piece of content on Google, and add it into your Google Plus profile. If you want to grow your business, decide early on what actual size business you would like and what you're going to do in the future with it. If you're a genuine entrepreneur, from day one, you're already planning your exit strategy, apparently. So yeah, that's, you know, not what I plan to do. I'm happy to keep my business the size it is. But think about how these things are going to affect the choices that you make. Marketing to the local area on Facebook, I really encourage you to like non-competing enterprises in the local area, because that really says that I'm in this area, and target people via the Facebook pixel on your website, and so that you can retarget people who've actually been to your website. as well as if you've got email addresses, you can upload and make sure that ads go to people, you know, who've already liaised with you. Mike, online startup with a local target market, creative hubs. There will be no bricks and mortar. Right. Oh, thanks for your feedback, Mike. Look, unfortunately, Google Business does require an address. It doesn't matter what business you are. And obviously, my address is in Canterbury. And if you are watching really carefully, you would have seen it appear on the screen. You need to have an address. So as I said before with the other question from Russell, if you don't want it to be your address, maybe you could contact your accountant or your bookkeeper or, you know, a colleague who's in a related industry and ask if you can use their address. But yeah, I figure if somebody really wants to know my address, they're going to be able to find it out one way or another. I might be able to bribe some friend who works in some government office or something. So I tend not to worry about it too much. And as it turns out, I'm actually here, you know, on my own quite a lot too, but, you know, I have neighbours and yeah, I don't worry about it now. Best way to informally market to local businesses. I think personalised paper-based content is so unusual that it's definitely worth a try. So if you want to prepare something in writing and, you know, say, hi, I'm the local X, would love to do business with your business Y, you know, and perhaps invite them to an exclusive breakfast. This has worked really, really well. You know, particularly for consultants. If they get their best clients together for breakfast, it's not an expensive activity, it's intimate, everybody does business with everybody else, and I just love it. It's just a really, really great way to enjoy other businesses' company. Selecting the right social media strategy, well, I do a 6-hour course on that, so obviously I wasn't going to get it done in 1-hour webinar, but think about the size of the database, those algorithm changes, whether you get dynamic or ongoing content, how easy is it for you to use so that you can be consistent and it not be a pain in the neck for you to do. And tips on marketing a new business, most online or social media content will take about 6 months to really work. So if you want business tomorrow, I suggest you get on the phone, talk to people you know, get referrals from existing clients, follow up old leads. You know, they're definitely the best ways to get through. Yes, this recording will be emailed out as well. So what happens from here? Well, you can check out my 3 books at 120ways.com. I'm happy to help you with your online presence and help you review the best options. It's normally $400 for 2 hours. I'm happy to offer that for $300 for 2 hours as a result of this webinar. I'll be messaging you the marketing idea viability questions. And as this is part of the Small Business Festival, please, please, please complete the event survey. This festival will only be able to remain possible if people fill out the survey. And if you are happy to write a review of this session, I would really appreciate that as well. Google says I'm not allowed to offer you any incentive, but I assure you that anybody who does write me a review, I do send them a digital copy of any one of my books. So, you know, I like to say thank you as well. So that's my way of saying thank you for taking the time out and providing some sort of information on what you found helpful. So, last but not least, any last minute questions before I wrap up? I'm happy to answer those. I'm also contactable via email. Thank you, Kamal, for your thanks. That's really great. It's been a real pleasure to be able to offer this to you. I had to pay for Zoom to make it happen, which has been a really great learning experience for me. And, you know, I really appreciate you turning up and staying to the end. And yeah, I really hope that you can apply these things to your business. And I certainly wish you all the best in the future, running your own business or freelance enterprise. Thank you. Thanks, Kim. Insightful, Russell, informative, terrific. Oh, Joanne, thank you. Many thanks. Really appreciate your feedback. Digest and review. Okay, Wendy, don't take too long to take action because, you know, it's really, really important. I'll send out these slides as soon as I possibly can and get the, you know, all the other details out to you as well. Really great help. Thanks, Jennifer. Cool. All right, I'll wrap it up there. You have an amazing day. I'm off to Phillip Island this weekend to write. I'm so excited. My new book, Gigsters, will be coming out soon. I think of a lot of us small businesses as gigsters, people who run life like a box of projects. Our families, our relationships, our gigs, our jobs, you know, all of it. Yeah, so look forward to revealing that soon. Thanks, Darren, as well. Thanks, Fred. Thanks, Camelia. Thanks, Jennifer. Yeah, thanks to everyone, and bye for now.